I'm a risk taker. I always have been. I don't really put a lot of thought into if I'm going to make a decision. Once I've made that decision, I just do it and I'll figure it out as I go.
Hello, dear listeners. It's that time again when we stroll through the paths of ambition, desire, and success. Welcome to the Dare to Declare podcast, where we explore the enchanting world of giant manifestors who've turned their visions and goals into the stuff of legends. I couldn't help but wonder, how do some people create the lives they've always dreamed of? Is it the magic of manifesting, the power of perseverance, or perhaps just a dash of serendipity? Well, dear friends, grab your coffee cups because we're about to spill the tea on fascinating journeys of those who dare to dream big and make it happen. Join me as we sip on success stories and ponder the ever-enticing question, can we all manifest our dreams into reality, or is it just an urban fairy tale? I'm your host, Debbie Sluice, and I'm here to guide you through the labyrinth of achievement with heart and soul. Ready to dare to declare? Let's get started. Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's episode. I am super excited to introduce my friend, Meg Lyttle. And Meg is actually in my hometown of Chatham, Ontario. She is a dedicated wife, mom, business owner, and passionate entrepreneur. She founded the Nest Realty Inc. in 2015 and has enjoyed watching the boutique brokerage flourish ever since, with a love for wine, coffee, and coaching. Meg excels at empowering others to reach their full potential, guiding fellow realtors to excel in their careers. In her free time, Meg indulges in her love for travel, immerses herself in a good book. So welcome, Meg.
Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. So let's dive right in. I love how you do business. Yeah, I do. Even before we connected, and I was still in my career as a childcare director, and I would see you at different events because you stood out to me in what typically is a male-dominated industry. And you were this young, stylish business owner. And I was like, that girl is one to watch. And so
Wow.
I've been watching you. Yeah. And so tell me a bit about like some of the things that your brokerage does that's different.
So Nest was made way back in 2015 now. So it's been a while, almost 10 years, or coming into our 10th year. And I felt like there was a gap in the market. I worked for another brokerage prior, and I just felt like Chatham was decades behind other places. No one was doing professional photography at that time. Literally, everyone was just using point and shoot cameras, maybe even their phones, if that was a thing. It was kind of in that cusp time of where people were between both things, or you weren't even getting photos done. No one was staging properties here, but yet surrounding communities as close as London was doing that. So I'm like, okay, there's a gap. There's also a gap in the approach, client service. It was just in general, I felt like we needed something different, and I had a different vision than what was currently being done here. So I just started, and right from the get-go we had professional photography, staging, and then we kind of grew from there, and we offered things that people weren't doing, like videos and drone. Now it's commonplace here. It's completely normal. People have adopted that process as well. So I like to think we're a little bit of the trailblazers for the area.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's one of the main things that makes us different, or did make us different. Now it's mostly the culture, I think.
Right. So tell me a bit about what it takes to see a gap. Like, so many people are like, oh, somebody should do something about that. But what does it take to go from that idea to actually thinking, I'm going to start my own business? I'm going to go from working for someone else to working for myself. And, oh, I'm going to build a dynamic team.
Well, I think some people are just naturally more entrepreneurial than others. I grew up always kind of being that way, right from selling like little clay objects in my driveway. I ran a band promotion company when I was in high school and college.
Wait. I got to interrupt you. What did you do in your driveway?
In my driveway, my friend and I, we made these like little clay, like they were magnet things, and we sold them in our driveway. I mean, we were probably 7 or 8 years old. So I've always had just that drive to be my own boss, I guess, and do my own thing. And it's funny you say the standing out thing. When I was a teenager, I actually had pink hair. So I wasn't really stylish back then, like you were saying. You thought of me. I was kind of more trying to stand out from the crowd. I didn't want to be like everybody else, so I tamed that down a little bit, but it's still in me naturally in other ways. Definitely, the punk side is not there anymore, but the creative, wanting to be different, doing things different side of me is still there.
The inner punk.
Yes, the inner punk, a little rebellious. But yeah, to answer that question, I mean, that's how did I see a gap? Honestly, I think I felt it. I just felt it in watching what people are doing elsewhere. And I'm a risk taker. I always have been. I don't really put a lot of thought into if I'm going to make a decision. Once I've made that decision, I just do it and I'll figure it out as I go. And that's pretty much exactly what I did.
That's so cool. You know, I was talking to a lady this morning about decisions like that, like risk taking. And we were trying to define what that is. And for me, it's I can't not do this. Like I feel like I have to make this happen. It's not an option
Mhm.
of like it's burning the boats, burning the bridge. Like it's just like I have to go forward and do this.
Yes.
It's that
And that's
feeling.
exactly it. There's no choice, right? Like it's just a gut inner intuition and you just follow it and that's how it is.
Yeah. And yet we have a choice, but what it sounds like you've decided, and for me too, when I make these decisions, I don't give myself another option.
Right. Failure isn't an option.
Right. Right.
Absolutely.
Right. Oh, I
I think
love
anybody can succeed in anything they do. I believe that in my soul that if you really want something, you can achieve it. And it doesn't matter who you are, what you do, but you have to work for it. It's not something that you can just sit back and let happen and come to you. You've got to put in the effort. But if you put in the effort, I do think results will come with time, sometimes money, but effort and passion. I mean, you can't create passion. Passion is there or it's not. And if you don't have that, then probably you're doing the wrong thing.
right. Would you say passion is your purpose?
I think so. I think they go hand in hand. I think if you can't, if your values and the things that drive you every morning to wake up. I mean, other than the things you have to do, you have to get up. You have to, if you have kids, feed your dogs. There's those things we have to do every day. We have to go to work to pay the bills. However, if we're working the majority of our lives, are we doing something we love and we feel passionate about? And then, at least work doesn't feel so much like work, or are we doing something just to do the grind and, kind of getting lost in that shuffle along the way?
Mm-hmm. What's your purpose? What's your passion?
My passion is probably learning, teaching, um, discovering new things and just doing things differently. I have a lot of passions, I guess you could say, but I love helping people build something. That's probably if I like had to really narrow in on it, whether it's a realtor, starting their career with us and watching them grow and develop into another great realtor. I love that. And I also love on the other side of things, when I'm coaching people, I love to help them kind of see where their gap is again, like what's missing, what do they need, why are they not succeeding in what they're trying to achieve, and things like that.
Very cool. So when did you figure this out yourself and go, oh, okay, so my pink hair is actually my statement. I'm a passionate person. When do you feel like you became self-aware around your passion and your purpose?
I think I want to say around the time I was 17, I started a magazine. um
What?
I know.
You are awesome. Oh my
It was,
word.
I
Like,
just I think back then, I was really trying to figure out who I was and what I wanted to do with my life. And I originally wanted to be a photojournalist, because I love writing and I liked photography. I didn't necessarily like taking the photos, so I'm not sure what I was thinking in that regard. But I ended up switching into advertising, which is what I went to school for, which has helped me in many ways because I love branding and figuring out who the person is behind the scenes and that behind that brand. Um, yeah, but I'd say probably around the time I was 17 is when I figured out things, and I grew. I mean, there's always evolution and whatnot, but I think back then I realized it wasn't just me wanting to be different and standing out. I had more there, and I really kind of shifted from trying to stand out to maybe my actions changing a little bit and what I was doing every day changing. So, yeah, I think
Wow.
around I was probably 17. I was young.
Wow. Well, you're unique because I talk to a lot of women, and much like myself, we don't have that awakening until, like, for me, it wasn't until my 50s. Like,
Right.
it's been recent, so that's amazing.
And in fairness, I mean, I do things have changed over the years and I've
Sure,
become
sure.
even more self-aware. I mean, when I was in my 20s, I thought I was a certain way, and then as I've gotten older, obviously I've had different realizations, but I do truly think that I've had a pretty good awareness since, yeah, probably the age of 17.
Very cool. So you said that you like helping people build things. Well, something that you've built is a really interesting agency. Is that what you call it, agency? So
Sure.
you do a lot of things in the community,
Yes. We're very community driven.
like stuff with pumpkins and
Hmm.
fire safety and bingos and brews. I heard you're gonna is your newest
Yeah.
thing. So tell me a bit about where do these ideas come from?
When I
And
can't sleep at night, when I'm laying in bed.
awesome.
In all seriousness, though, I do have my notes beside me, and then if I can't sleep, I'll write them down because I'm a thinker. I can't sometimes I just can't stop thinking. But being involved in our community has always been super important to me, especially as a business owner. I feel like people trust us and they put a lot of faith into us. And it's an industry where you're trusting us with one of your biggest investments, your home, right? So I think giving back to that community that is supporting us is super important. And, a lot of other brokerages they give back too. So I love to see that. But a lot of them work with one particular shelter or whatever it might be, right? Some sort of nonprofit that they always support. And I really wanted to keep ours more local and support more than one place because there's so many great community initiatives that take place, and there's lack sometimes. Like one of our favorites to support is the Alzheimer's Society because they don't get a lot of attention. And while it doesn't affect me right now, it might when I'm older. And I think a lot of people come into touch with things like that. So, but yeah, community involvement huge for us. That's what our Bingos and Brews event is for. It's in support of the Alzheimer's Society. So that's coming up in a few weeks. So maybe not in a few weeks from when you post this, but in a few weeks it'll be towards the end of October. So.
Very cool.
Mhm.
And I just love like this quirky take, which it feels like that's really your personality coming through as well. Like bingos and brews. It just there's something. It's very catchy, obviously.
Yeah, maybe it's the marketing angle, I don't know, side of me, that person who love like I used to think I was gonna be a creative director. That's what I thought I was gonna do. But then I realized I couldn't work for somebody else. So that was just not an option. um but yeah, we just like doing things differently. I mean, even if you look back and scroll through our, social media, you'll see some fun videos we do just for fun. Like we did the Drake video years ago. I remember we are all in like white t-shirts and jeans and just for fun. Like we like to have fun, and it's not just work, right? Again, we spend our lives working, may as well enjoy what you do.
For sure. And I also think that you and your team love to celebrate.
We do. We're big on that. We celebrate everybody's birthdays in the office. We have like six this month. Libras are very popular in our office for some reason. But yeah, we celebrations are huge. Christmas, we're working on that plan right now. I, to me, life is worth celebrating, and the people you work with should be people you want to celebrate with. Which, you know, our office is another thing that's unique is that we do not actively recruit. So never have I posted an ad saying, are you a new realtor looking for a job, looking to hire a realtor? We don't do that. So everyone that's come to us has come organically, which means that they already want to be part of what we have. And that's how the fit works.
Mm. That is very similar to the way that I was in my previous role as well as a childcare director. It's like I wanted to create an environment that was fun, that
Mhm.
we could retain the best, attract the best, because and it still carries on now that I'm gone. My successor is doing the same, and like people step over this piece about celebrating. It's in the details, and it's like
Yep.
remembering people's birthdays and taking the time. I remember that we had a committee
And our board of directors was really, really supportive. And it was a social committee.
Mhm.
And, usually if you're looking at a budget and not for profit, like that would go to the bottom compared to all the other
Right.
priorities around training and around equipment and around office expenses. But with working with my board of directors, I asked them to always make that a priority, the social committee, because the social piece is so, as you said, you work with people like
Mhm.
8, 10, 12 hours,
Oh,
and
yeah.
at least in the
They become your
childcare,
family.
it's really stressful sometimes.
Mhm.
So when you've just, shared a glass of wine, or you've, just eaten some cake together, or
Mhm.
you just did like a race, like kids, together, you're going to be that much more empathetic when challenges come, because you've met them on a different energy level.
Absolutely. And, I learned that early on. I was in college and I was working part-time at Starbucks. And I will say that was one of the best jobs I could have had as a student. They followed the fish philosophy. I don't know if you've ever read that book or not. Read it. Totally worth it. It's an old book written many years ago, but it's all about Pike Place Market, which they were basically workers who were fishing and handling fish in the for the market, but it was all about that mentality and keeping like employee retention and keeping them happy and how they celebrate with the fish. Like they make it fun and it's not this monotonous job. And it really was interesting because the the creator of Starbucks really pushes this philosophy. And I'm not sure if it's still the same there anymore. I think things have changed over the years, but they were huge on employee retention. You had to be 18 to work there. Everybody, part time or full time, didn't matter. You got stock options, benefits. It was a really great place to work, and they had great retention. And I always took that with me as when I'm older and have my own business, I want to be like that. I want to keep people. I don't want them to leave.
Huh, you're the Starbucks brokerage.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, I love Starbucks, so
There you
there you
go.
go. Pretty much.
So you wear a number of hats. So you're community
Mhm.
involvement, you're the owner, but you're also a mom.
Yeah. Yep.
So this is, I'm a mom as well, for adult children, and I'm not in the phase and the season that you are, and your children are, I think, tweens, teens. Well, it's a different busy.
Yeah, like I'm a chauffeur at this point, or a party planner. My daughter loves to have parties, and so I feel like there's always kids at our house. But yeah, it was challenging when they were younger because that's when I was starting more. I was, if you go back 15 years, well, you know, that's I think I've been in real estate 16, but it's around the time, I got pregnant with Delilah and then I got pregnant with Theo and um I'll be honest, like I did not take a mat leave with Theo. I just went back to work because I had to. I had to hustle. So he was in daycare by 2 months, and
Mm,
it was just about balance, though. I mean, I didn't have to work every day. I didn't have to. I could, work around my schedule so that I could still have time with him. Obviously, there's definitely some sacrifice when my kids were younger, but I think that it's paid off now because I don't miss anything now.
right, right. And you've got that flexibility, and yeah.
Hmm.
And I carried around a lot of mom guilt for years. And then one time I expressed it to my adult children, and they looked at
Yeah.
me like I had three heads. They're like, Mom, what are you even talking about?
Because they probably didn't notice.
They didn't notice. And they're like, We're
No.
so proud of you.
Yes. They're cheerleaders, right?
And I gave them, a strong work ethic, and all these, about setting up an environment, a culture of
Yeah.
positivity, of being supportive, of running a business. My husband's also a business owner. So all of that,
Mhm.
they were watching. And I've got, four great kids. And
Yep.
meanwhile, I was carrying around all this guilt. Oh, yeah, my kids.
I do, and they're phenomenal kids. Honestly, your kids are authentically, genuinely kind people. Um, and that's something that I think is more important than anything really. I mean, it's nice that they're driven or successful and all that, but man, if you can raise kind kids, that's a win for me.
Yeah. And that circles me back to what you're doing in the community,
Okay.
right? So like that's what your kids are watching. I'm just saying,
Yeah.
just reflecting this back to you, is that you can say the right things, you can hustle, like I, teach him about business, and it's about
Mhm.
how you treat people.
Absolutely. Like that our kids will be helping. We have our volunteer event, which is tomorrow, won't be tomorrow when you this is posted live, but
Yeah.
we will be giving away pumpkins, doing some fire safety things, but it's all for supportive outreach for hunger, and the kids will be there. They're there every year.
Oh, I love that.
They're involved. Delilah benefits this year from, volunteer hours at high school, but she'd be there regardless. It doesn't
Sure,
matter.
sure.
So I think it's important for them to learn these things to give back as well, that especially if you can, if you have the time.
Yeah, for sure. So, what are some lessons, some things that you're like, yeah, I did that so well when I started my company, and then things that you're
Okay.
like, oh, if I only knew, if I could go back to the
Yep.
version of me 10 years ago, I would say to her, what?
Okay. So 10 years ago, I am so glad that I just did it and didn't overthink it, because I can overthink things sometimes, and that's where I stumble. I find that if I get thinking too much, it prevents me from taking action. So in this case, I just did it, created the logo, knew what the brand was going to be, got the space. I think sometimes you've got to get all those things going in motion and not think too much about the heavy details, because you can work that out as you're going. I don't regret any of that. If I could do something different, I think it would be more of a back end thing where I would have put different systems in place right from the get go. I've really learned over time how important it is to have systems in place, but because I tend to be a fly by the seat of my pants type of gal, I didn't do that in the beginning. We had this old fashioned accounting system. We weren't really great at it. Um, so those things, having that key piece in place. Otherwise, I don't think I'd do anything different, to be honest, because I like where we are, and I think every lesson I learned is just something that I can take with me for next time. So I don't know. I think all experiences, good and bad, are positive at
Oh,
the end.
absolutely. I agree. I agree. But I love the idea of the systems because I would say the same. And
Okay, yeah.
because I'm such a visionary, and like
Mhm.
people have said to me, like I like it's like, oh, jump out of the airplane. I'm like, gone. And they're like, wait, do you have your parachute? Like I'm like, I'm
Right.
already out.
Right, and
Excuse
that
me.
was me too. I was just so fast, I was thinking about, okay, this do we have the signage? Do we have business cards? Do we have a website? Like those things that were important to me, but I was like, "Oh, I'm not a math kind of person. That's not my skill. It's not my strong suit." So I wasn't thinking about the budgeting and the daily things that we have to do. It's just not the thing I thought about right from the get-go.
Yeah, so I think for me too, I would hire someone uh, up front to create some of those systems. Now,
Yeah.
I've had to backtrack. And then one of the other things was my email list. I didn't really focus on my email list. I didn't
Yes.
see the value in
Yeah.
creating that email list. Where now it's a slow drip, but it yeah, it's so
It's top of mind. It puts you at top of mind for people, and
yeah.
keeping in contact with people in most businesses is very important. And I say that to the agents all the time. Like, are you reaching out to your clients, and do it authentically? Like, don't just reach out for the sake of reaching out, but give them something of value and ask them how they're doing. And that goes a long way when you're authentic, I think.
So that leads me into your coaching. So now you have also pivoted, which even your initial location, you had a beautiful location and then you
Mhm.
moved. You are so progressive in that it's like you're not stalled. You see the gap, you're a visionary for sure. So moving into coaching, what inspired that?
So growing up, I wanted to be a psychologist or a psychiatrist, something like that. I've always really enjoyed talking to people and helping them work through things. So, as a broker of record and owner of a real estate brokerage, I was already kind of doing that with the agents. I was, getting them started, training them, helping them learn the whole industry. And it was always in the back of my mind that I wanted to get into coaching, but I don't love the word coach because I don't think of it like a sports thing or anything like that. It's more of like I'm a mentorship, I guess you could
Hmm.
say.
Hmm.
Um, so it's something I've been thinking about. I've been doing it without, charging for it, I guess you could
Right.
say, for many, many years. So I thought, how can I do this and actually expand upon it? My long-term goals, we're hoping not to live just in Chatham. We'd really love to live somewhere in the, Caribbean or Costa Rica or something like that, even half of the year. So I'm at that point, I'm 41 years old, and I'm thinking, okay, in 10 years when our kids are done school, where are we and what does that look like? So with coaching, I can do that anywhere. And it still fulfills me in the sense that I'm still doing what I do, just in a different way with different people. So yeah, it's been great so far.
Very cool. So what are some of the results, or are you just starting? I don't.
Yeah, no, I think I have one client who is going went through a move and then has had some issues with her dad's health, and I think we had a bit of a breakthrough in the sense of what she really was focused on and what was really holding her back from moving forward. So while the results haven't necessarily been like monetary or hugely shifting in her business, her mindset has shifted, and I think
Right.
that that is the first step.
Absolutely. Always
Yeah.
starts there. We got to uncover this shit that's been
Absolutely,
holding
just
us back.
you got it.
Oh,
Yeah, dig through the piles.
yeah. You can't build a vision on a garbage dump. So we gotta
No,
uncover all that stuff so that we can then move forward. So
absolutely.
you talked about in your bio about one of your favorite things is to read. So
Mhm.
I'm curious, what book are you reading? What's your favorite book, and what book are you reading right now?
Okay, I'm reading a Colleen Hoover book right now. My daughter is a huge fan and has like a stack of books like this in her room. So I finished a book the other night. So I went downstairs and grabbed one. It's called Slammed. It's about slam poetry and young love. It's an easy read. I read before bed, that type of book, like a fictional novel, so that I can shut my brain off. I was just recently rereading, it's over here, Atomic Habits.
Oh yes, yes.
Um, and I'm also reading Outliers. And then my favorite book, this is probably silly, but it's probably either Little Women or Charlotte's Web. So
Oh,
both
that's not
older
silly at
novels.
all. I just felt that.
Yeah, those would be probably my two favorites.
Oh, that's amazing. So, if someone wanted to work with you, they're a realtor or they know a friend who's a realtor and they're struggling and they want to have breakthroughs, they want to have success. How can they work with you?
So I work through a company who is they're fantastic. They're collaborative, small, like not huge, but really powerful. Led by a very powerful woman named Kathleen Black. So it's through Kathleen Black Coaching. That's how they can find me. It's really simple to Google it, but there are amazing coaches there. So they really spend a lot of time trying to find the right fit. But that would be how they would go through if they were looking for that.
Okay. And is there anything else that you want to share that you're up to? What's next for you?
Ooh, what's next? There's gonna be some changes next year. Some good things happening.
Ooh, I'm intrigued.
We're working on a really fun video concept right now too, which I'm really excited to put out there. Oh, what's next? I don't know. You know what? There's so much going on. The October is such a busy month for us, and then November is busy with birthdays and personal stuff. So, what's next? I'm gonna say I'm just gonna let people keep guessing because
Good.
I'm always up to something. I never stop. Um, and I guess the only other thing I'd like to say is that I really am so proud of you and everything you've done.
Oh, thank you.
Um, I love chatting with you. This has been so much fun. I hope people are always listening to you because you're a great speaker and you have so much to offer and so much value.
Oh, I appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you.
Mhm.
Well, we can be two shining stars in our town here
Yeah,
as
why not? Right?
entrepreneurial women and as visionaries, and just to make the world a better place through helping people build their lives,
Yes.
build, physically build what you're all up to, and for me to help people build their vision and create goals. So thanks for joining me today. Uh,
Thanks for having me.
your information will be in the show notes for people to get in touch with you. Follow this lady on Instagram. She's super fun. And all of her stuff is very value driven and a lot of fun. So it'll inspire you. Thanks again. Take
Thanks.
care of you. Cheers.
Yes, you too. Bye.
Today, we've delved into the realm of manifesting giants, exploring the power of declaring our desires to the universe with unapologetic boldness. But before we bid adieu, I have a little something special to share with all of you dreamers out there.
Introducing the Dare to Declare Vision Board magazine and online DIY Vision Board course, your ticket to manifesting greatness in style. Picture this: flipping through pages filled with inspiring images, empowering quotes, and step-by-step guides to help you create the vision board of your dreams. Whether you're yearning for that spacious condo with a view or a love that sets your soul on fire, our magazine is here to guide you every step of the way. Dive deep into the art of manifesting with our exclusive online DIY vision board course. Led by manifesting expert, yes, yours truly, and seasoned dreamers, this course will teach you the ins and outs of creating a vision board that speaks to your heart and soul. So what are you waiting for? Join the ranks of the manifesting giants and dare to declare your wildest dreams to the universe. Head over to our website, debbiesluice.com, and grab your copy of the Dare to Declare Vision Board magazine and enroll in our online DIY Vision Board course today. Until next time, keep dreaming big and daring to declare, because in the world of manifesting, the sky's the limit.